And all right, hello everyone. We are live. Please refresh your pages. Again, we are live here, so please refresh your pages. And could everyone here just do me a big favor and let us know when you can see us and hear us? Oh, and Manu, actually, could you stop sharing your screen for a second because it's just and everyone into the chat again, just let me know when you can see us and hear us. Now, the reason I ask this is because I actually had a horrible experience once upon a time. It was one of my first ever webinars, um, and I thought that everything was going really well. And then I went, wait, Manu, I think you stopped your video instead of stopping sharing the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Good start.
Well, exactly. So it was one of my first ever webinars, and I thought that everything was going really well. And then I went back into the chat for a couple of minutes, and everyone is saying, Cameron, you're sharing the wrong screen. And I would I had made all these slides and no one was even seeing them. So now I always ask at the beginning, and it looks like folks can see and hear Susan, Amy, Julianne, and more. So one more thing, while we get started here, I'd love for everyone to let us know in the chat, where in the world are you joining us from? Manu, I guess I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice. And looking in the chat so far, we've got folks from all over the world. So we have Montreal, we've got Mexico, Brazil, Houston, Texas, Mexico City again, Yorkshire, San Francisco, ATL as well, Mexico, Maryland, New York, Greece, Maryland, Vancouver, Mexico, Florida, Washington, D.C., Switzerland, San Diego. Another person joining from Atlanta, so we've got a good crew tuning in from there. So Manu, and everyone's really enthusiastic. Everyone's like, "Oh, Atlanta too! Wow, did you put up like a flyer in the local area and you got everyone from Atlanta to join?"
I put out a word for my friends, my members.
Awesome. So we're going to get started in just a minute, but I did want to just really quickly share some important logistics with everyone. So first off, I'm just going to quickly share my screen with everyone to take a look at this. So when you're watching the video, you're watching on a screen that looks, something like this. Now, if you're ever seeing anything be blurry, like if the slides are hard to read or something, click the gear icon on the lower right, that gear icon, and make sure the quality is the highest quality. It should say 720p. That's the highest quality. So make sure you're at the highest quality if you're seeing anything be blurry. And if stuff is just too small, that's totally fine. Just click the button at the bottom right to make it full screen. And then you'll be able to view everything larger. Just note that when you view full screen, you will have to exit the full screen in order to ask questions in the chat. Oh, and speaking of asking questions, go ahead and ask your questions at any time. I'll be writing them down for Manu to answer at the end. But my big request for you, there's no such thing as a bad question, but there is one question I'm going to answer right now, which is, will there be a replay? The answer is yes, there will be a replay, and you will get it automatically via email. So help me out here. If you see someone in the chat say, like, is there going to be a replay? Could you just tell them yes for me? Like, help me a little bit. I really appreciate it. And now, what you've all been waiting for, Manu, I'll let you take it away. So go ahead. Let everyone here is excited to see what you have to share.
Thank you. I'm going to try to share the right window.
And it's looking good.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. It's Manu. I know that some people know me already. And for those of you that are new, it's really nice to meet you. My company is Your Social Team. I am an Instagram strategist, and I also have a background in creative. I worked for Cartoon Network for like 15 years, doing creative stuff there, and then worked at a local startup and jumped right into just focusing on Instagram and teaching small businesses how to do it in a way that was really filled with strategy, but also being very creative to do things differently and get more eyes on your brand. So in today's session, we're going to talk about the difference between a campaign and a post. We're going to talk about how to plan your campaign stages, because the campaign has different stages, and we're going to talk about them. And then the pieces of content you need for your campaign, and how to use 101 strategies for the last push and to get more sales, which is super important. So for those of you that are course creators, if you're not a course creator, don't worry, because this would also apply for any other type of project that you have, or product or service. But when you finish your course, it's that good feeling. You feel very Beyonce-like. But then when it's time to sell your course, you feel like crawling under the covers and eat Velveeta cheese right out of the box. And we all feel this way. It's like selling is never fun unless maybe you're a salesman, but selling is just tough. And we hear words like being salesy and we shy away from promoting our stuff, but we should not do that. So let's jump right into part one, which is the difference of a campaign between a campaign and a post. And I think this is super important because what most people are doing on Instagram when they try to sell their courses or their services or their products is that you do a post here and there instead of just creating a campaign. So the problem with a post is that it doesn't address every detail of your offer. You can't possibly, with one Instagram post, talk about all the benefits and all that it takes and all that it entails, what you get, how to buy it, and all the things around your offer. It's just really, really hard to get that with one post here and there. One post is also not seen by enough people. You guys may know this. You may have noticed that engagement on Instagram is not necessarily like the whole size of your audience. So, but it's the same in any media that you're in. Like, even if you think of old school, like commercials, like no one produces a commercial and show it once, right? So the other problem with the post, to using a post to sell, is that it's not enough for most types of decision makers to make a decision. So I don't know if you know this, but there's basically 4 types of decision makers. When people see your offer, they, engage with in 4 different ways. And one of them is fast and emotional. The other one is fast and rational. The other one is slow and emotional, and slow and rational. So you need a campaign to address all the different type of people and work with them in their own speed and in what they need. So a campaign can address all details of your offer in different pieces of content. Is seen by a lot more people because you're sending that message again over and over, and also addresses all the type of decision makers, or rather you have a chance to address different types of decision makers because they're going to be engaging with that content for a little while. So, but how do you plan your campaign in stages? Let's talk about this for a second. So this is like a basic generic marketing funnel, right? And there's some variations, of course, but this is part of like the process that everybody that buys from you goes through. And this could be that some people like me, I'm a fast emotional decision maker. So I would go through these 5 steps in like 5 minutes. But some people take a week to go through these 5 steps. So the first one is awareness. It's when you present your offer, make sure people know about it, understand it. And then the second one is interest, which is when you show benefits, who this is for, you show results. Then you have considerations, when people are like, maybe this is for me, but they're not yet convinced. So you have to address their doubts and share social proof. Like, look, all these people are saying these great things about us. The fourth is the intent. Like, people are almost ready to buy, but they haven't done it yet. So you have to reassure them, show what they could be doing. Like, that's the really good time for the FOMO. Look at all these people that are already diving in this course, and then you have to remind them of the value. And then number 5 is actually the purchase. And when they purchase, you have to make sure that you over deliver and keep nurturing them. And by over deliver, I don't mean like they buy something from you, you send them 10 things, not necessarily like all the bonuses, but just like whatever you promise on the awareness part of the campaign, and all the whole campaign, they're getting that and even better than I expected. I would never oversell something that I have. Like, you probably never hear me saying like, oh, this hack is going to be a life changer. You're going to like, gain 20,000 followers like in a month. Like, I don't overpromise. Like, that's one thing that is, I'm never going to say like, oh, you're going to take this class here, you're going to sell a ton. Like, that's not how it is. It just varies by person. But that's the point of over delivering. Like, be consistent to what you're promising them and over deliver on that promise, and keep nurturing them. Is like, not that once we say on Instagram terms, don't post and ghost, but I would also say don't have them buy and then ghost. So this would be like a sample 7-day campaign. It really depends what you're selling to see how long your campaign needs to be. And you can also decide on that yourselves. I had campaigns that lasted 2 days, and I had campaigns that lasted like 2 weeks. If it depends on how complex and expensive what you're selling is. You might need more time. How often that offer is out there. Like I based a lot of stuff from this class. I tweaked it based on my last campaign, which is my membership. And you're going to see some examples of that here. And I decided to do a 7-day campaign, and that felt really good to me. That felt better than other campaigns I've done. If it's for a course and I'm just opening once a year, I'm probably going to do a 2-week or even a little more, maybe teasing beforehand. But this 7-day campaign, you may be saying, Manu, this is an 8-day campaign, but I'm not counting the teaser. So you can start teasing like even 2 days before or 1 day before. But then this is the day one of your campaign, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you're going to notice that I decided to open my campaign on day one on Wednesday because I do not like closing my campaign on a weekend. I think on weekends, like people are just relaxing. They're not, just paying attention to their computers all the time or their phones all the time for that matter. So I always prefer having a good solid 2 days here to sell. And these are the best sales of the whole campaign, by the way. Usually it's here and here, especially if you have an early bird. And then those 2 days are really when people are like, okay, let me decide, otherwise I'm going to lose it. So this distribution, like from Wednesday to Tuesday, feels really good to me. And I put here a break and a super post because you can do posts every day, but I did posts for my campaign this last time every day except for Sunday, because Sunday I was like, well, I was planning to have a 1-day break anyway. And Sunday is the lowest engagement on Instagram of all week across the board. So Sunday felt good for me too. And also I don't feel like people are just, I like the fact that people take a break and I don't want to send them a bunch of work-related messages or things they have to do on a Sunday. So what I put here about Super Post, those that are not familiar with me and your social team, Super Post is like my signature strategy for organic engagement, which is pretty much like combining all the aspects of your highest engaging content into one big super post. And those super posts usually perform a lot better than the rest. So the reason I say super post here, and maybe if you don't know how to do the super post strategy yet, you could just do something that you really think your audience is going to love. And the reason for that is because sometimes in the middle of your campaign, you might have to put some posts there that are not the things that people look and they're like, oh, this is amazing, I need to engage with this right away. Because sometimes it's more straightforward. You need to put, the information, or sometimes something flyer looking. And we're going to go through all different types of content. But I did definitely have that as part of my campaign because that was important to have. But I know that's not what gets you the most engagement. So putting a super post on Sunday that made it that a lot of people engage with it just gave me a little boost of engagement. And the next day, more people are going to see that post again. So definitely make sure that you're planning something if you have a break that people just really have loved. And an easy way to do this is just to go back to your insights and go to your top engaged posts in the last 6 months or a year. And unless you have used that in the last month, just repeat that same post if it's evergreen. That's a very easy way to do this. So this is a sample 7-day campaign, and this is the amount of things that I have done. And take into consideration that when I say Instagram stories, I'm not even counting how many, because there are lots of stories. Not to the point that it's just a bunch of dots and people just kind of see the end of your stories, but there were like almost every day you would go in there, there would be like 3 to 5 stories explaining more things about the campaign, mixed with other stories, so it's not just exhausting. So the day before I did my teaser, which again, you could do 2 days before or just 1 day before. And this can be replicated to other, platforms or even email sometimes, but I'm really focusing on Instagram for this. So if you have questions about this, let me make sure that you're writing them down or sending them in the chat. Okay, so the day before my teaser, I did one Instagram post promoting an Instagram live that I was gonna do on day one, and then stories with the countdown sticker. If you're not familiar with the countdown sticker, it's just a sticker that you can do on Instagram stories. And once you set up that sticker, it stays for days. So you have to show them again because your stories last 24 hours. So let's say that you set it up 48 hours before, and you're like, oh, save this countdown, because people can actually save it and they're going to get a notification when that countdown is done. So let's say that in my Instagram live was at 9 o'clock on day one, you can post the countdown to 9 o'clock saying, you know, big news, like join our live. And I would actually say, when I use the countdown sticker, depending on who your audience is, because your audience may not be super Instagram savvy, and a lot of people don't know this, I would do a little arrow pointing to the countdown sticker, because people can actually click on the arrow. There's a little arrow on the countdown sticker, and save that countdown, and then they get notified. So I love doing the countdown. I think it's definitely worth it. Sometimes I even do it on my feed. So for day one, I would have the Instagram post number 2, Instagram stories. I would create a highlight that talks about, you know, just whatever this offer is. Mine was a membership. And then an Instagram live, and then save that live later on IGTV with preview on my feed on Instagram. So then on day 2, I would have the Instagram post number 3, again, Instagram stories. I did an Instagram reels with preview on feed in the afternoon. So that was almost like a second post, but also I wanted to use reels because people have been really paying attention to reels, and that's just the newest format on Instagram. And then on day 3, I did an Instagram post number 5 and Instagram stories. And again, if you're not doing reels yet, you don't really know how to do highlights that well, do what you can. I would say 1 post a day is important, and we're going to talk about how to do a post a day about the same offer without being boring. But do what you can. Don't let this stop you just because I'm doing all these things that you think you can do it. If you do just post and stories, that's fine too. I definitely recommend going live if you can, but if not, just post and stories, or even just posts to start is fine. So on day 3, I had more Instagram posts and stories. Day 4, post stories with countdown to last day. So this is important. On day 4, I created another countdown, but the countdown was for the last day to join my membership. But if I created the countdown for any ends, by the time people get notified, it ended. So it's too late. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm saying. Countdown to last day, not to cart close time. So I post on my countdown, last day to join our membership. So when people get notified, it says to them, last day to join a membership, not like our membership cart's closing, which would be like your course or your offer, our cart's closing. Then by the time people get that, it's closed. So this is an important thing. And then on the day 5, which I had the break, I did the super post, and I did have a mention of the offer on Instagram stories still. And on day 6, I had another post, and then Instagram stories again. So day 6 just kind of started like slow, but then on day 6 and 7, I was doing the 101 reach out like on DMs, and so day 7, same, like I went all out again. I actually did 2 posts on day 7 because I wanted to do an afternoon end of day post. I think I did actually at 8 o'clock saying closes at midnight. And then Instagram stories, of course, like I had other social platforms as well, which you can do as well. And then DMs, which is direct messages. And you guys may have some questions about this, so please go asking them. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have after I finish the presentation. So I wanted to show you something else, because we're talking about a post every day. I know for a fact that some of you guys who are watching are like, how can I, like most people feel intimidated by doing 1 sales post on Instagram, because people are like, oh, you're gonna get too salesy, or, you know, I don't know why people are so nervous on Instagram about just promoting their business. Instagram is not just for awareness. You can sell and sell well using Instagram. So trust me on this one. But people usually are like, I cannot even do 1, imagine 2 in a row. How do you do a whole week of them? So this is why I created this slide and the next one, because I wanted to show you this. This is what you think of a campaign, right? This is a campaign I did earlier this year, was the business bundle. This is not the campaign, by the way. These are just pieces that were part of a campaign that includes, you know, blog posts and website and things like that. So that's why they all look the same, right? When you guys see this, you can't see one of these images every day. That's going to bore everybody to death. It's not going to work. None of this is going to get engagement. People have seen me. People have seen this before. Like nothing about this is like, yeah, great. Women entrepreneurs, people love that. Me, I hope you guys love me. But no one can be engaged if they're looking at this every day. So instead, this is what campaigns should look like for Instagram. So as you can see, this is all part of, I actually kept it all to this one campaign. So I wanted to show you, even though I was talking mostly about the format I used for my last campaign, which was my membership open. In this one, I actually left the same campaign as this, just so you see exactly how things looked for people on the other side. So I'm creating posts that are like fun GIFs, memes, using stickers to talk about, what people need, like people's goals in a fun way. And then in the middle of it, I did use some of the more normal expected campaign things. This is one of mine on my lives look like, another post, and this is another live. So by having a campaign that looks like this, people are not necessarily bored when they're seeing your content, and they don't even feel like, oh, can stand Manu talking about this again. And maybe you do, but you guys are polite then. But if your audience is the right audience for you, they're going to be engaged because what you're talking about is the exact problems they have. What you're offering is a good solution to their problems. So unless you're these sheep here, you want the solutions to your problems. So that's why I wanted to show you how it's important to keep your content like fun and fresh and diverse, as opposed to just this that makes everybody sleep. All right, so let's talk about the pieces of content that you actually need to create your campaign. So posts, and make sure that your posts are not all the same. Posts for a campaign should be, one should be a graphic, the other one should be a photo, the other one should be a video, a GIF, a meme. Like not all accounts need to use memes, of course, but just have posts that look different from one another. Because if they're all the same or the same style, or it's just pictures, like let's say a lot of women entrepreneurs like me, most of their pictures will look something like this that you see here, which is like me in my phone in my office. And people have seen this. They have seen it too many times, so they're not going to stop the scroll for this. So that's why you have to mix it up. Sometimes it's just like really big text right away, to make sure that people are still engaged. So stories, same thing inside of stories. Use the stickers, whatever you can use. So the post, question stickers, countdown. Use all that stories allow you to use. Instagram Live. I use slides on lives, which is it makes your live looks like this. It's just when you go live, there's a little button here to your camera roll, and you just can create whatever slides you want. I actually create a bunch of them, like number one, number two, you see a different one here. And you can just pull this straight from your camera and switch from photo to photo. So just create all the, just same size as stories. Just create all the ones that you're gonna need in your presentation and use them when you're live. Like it's a really cool new feature that most people don't even know it's there. I did a live with Canva, or with Canva, I'm sorry, I'm on Canva right now. I did a live with the guys from Teachable not long ago, and I did all my slides on Canva, which you can see if you go to Teachable's Instagram, and you can see how the slides work, but they're really cool if you're teaching people something. So invite guests if you can, especially if you have people that used your offer before, and worked with you or bought your stuff. That's a really great thing to do. You could even set up that you're doing an Instagram live talking all about it on the launch, but invite a few people to join, for a little bit of the time. And then IGTV, which these days that lives are saved to IGTV, you can just use those two at once here. And then Instagram Reels, if you have jumped on this, definitely recommend adding to your campaign too. People really stop when they see Reels on the scroll, and it's mixed in with your posts, so it's going to get more attention if you have one in there. So posts. These are the 9 posts from my recent campaign that I talked about. So this was day 1. This was day 2. The teaser's not even here. This was day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is my super post break. 8 and sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was my break. And this was both on the same day. I don't know. I'm confused now, but you get the idea. These are all the posts. I put an arrow here for you to see that this was the break. People just really loved this photo when I posted it in the past. So I thought it was just a fun thing for me to post on that Sunday that people relate to. And it totally worked because it had really high engagement. And you're gonna see this was the beginning of it, which I'm gonna shorten a little bit. I did something a little crazy and fun here for awareness in the beginning of my campaign. And then here, I just started to use, oh, that's why numbers are wrong, because this is a reel, you guys. Sorry. Now I understand what's going on. So this reel here, I previewed on the feed. I did a very ridiculous, funny reel for this. So here I did a tweet, which they performed really well. I did actually 2 of them. This one was just like a fun kind of meme style post. And then this one, I actually used one of those podcast apps to see the wave here, to just create a little piece of my campaign. And I was just talking about what was inside of my membership. And here it was just a scroll with 5 of these different testimonials. And then here was the class of that week, was about, was ads. So that's what was part of what people would get if they joined. So I put it down here. And like I said, like testimonials usually are not your most, engaging posts on Instagram. Like they're important to have. So that's why it really helps having a super post here and then a super post on my break, because I know that these 2 posts coming are not the most exciting, but they're important for me. That's how with Instagram, you have to be like, okay, that's what we call strategy. Sometimes that's not the most engaging post, but you also know that there are benefits to put that right in the face of the people that are the right people for your offer. It might not just be for everybody that follows you, but for the people who are interested, that's gonna really grab their attention. And stories. So these are just some of the stories I did for the campaign, but what I wanted to show you is how different they also look. Like this was a series of stories. Each of these arrows would come in at a different time. So I just had a few of them until you got there. Started with this one, the poll. And then I did some that I'm just speaking to the camera. It was actually more than these. When you do those that you're speaking to the camera, make sure you put most of what you're saying in here, because a lot of people don't listen to the stories with audio. And then this is another poll that I did, and we're gonna talk a little bit about why I'm making these polls and why I'm asking these specific questions on them. Here I did something fun, which is, for me, a lot of people who could possibly be my members are also social media managers. So I actually created a letter they could swipe up, just explaining to their boss why their company should just get the membership for them. So this was another story that I did, because I didn't want to put this letter on the link in bio. I wanted the link in bio to continue just being my offer, but that would be a good way for people to get the letter if they wanted. And by the way, if you want to put other links and you don't have the swipe up, one really great thing to say is just DM me for the link, especially if you're in the middle of a sale and people DM you for the link they want. You're talking to them directly. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of this presentation. That's how we're going to close with. But people are much more likely to buy your offer if you're talking to them on DMs. Here's a little bit of FOMO. The first day, I actually listed everybody who joined on the first day here and put for some other people to see. Then one of the people who joined sent me this text on DM, and I said, hey, can I screenshot this? And they're like, yeah, so this is just a little FOMO too. Like, oh, I'm already so pumped to see all the goodies in the members area, just to kind of get people thinking, oh, that sounds awesome. And I just did this other story here. And this is another story with a new member. So it was like a text exchange from a new member. And I was just kind of putting some arrows here. And here's again, that was my last countdown. See, instead of putting like membership cart ends or something, cart closes, I did less chance to join our membership. It has just ended here. And this is the little button that people need to click if they want to save it. So usually I get one of those GIF sticker arrows, and I just put it here saying, click this link to save it and be notified. So here, plus, you know, besides from posts and stories, we talked about IG lives. I did a couple here, reels. I did a couple reels here. This is the one I actually shared in my feed, and the highlights. So this is the highlights where I actually had this highlight before, but I removed everything that was here and I just did the stuff about my campaign, which is the stories that I created. I just saved, not all of them, just save the ones that make sense and tell the whole story, have a link. If you don't have a swipe up, again, you can say link in bio in your stories, or you can say DM me for the link. And then most importantly, I think it's important to be creative and try something new. But I wanted to show you something that I did that is pretty crazy, and it's a little video I'm gonna play that I'm narrating for you to see when I was doing my screen share, for you to check it out. I think it might be new to a lot of you that never seen anything like this. You don't need to be as crazy as this, but my point is to just do something creative and get people's attention and try something that never one has done before. I think sometimes we're just too stuck in what other people are doing, what our competitors are doing, but it's actually the opposite. You should do what no one else is doing if you can. So this is something pretty crazy I've done to promote my latest membership launch. That was my last launch that I did. So it all started with this one Instagram post here in my profile. And that's a quick video. Just something fun about the membership. So then when you read the caption, it said, come on a little adventure with me, click here, which says, yes, girl, right this way. Most of my audience is women, that's why I say that. And then once they click, they go to a whole different profile, which I created just for this launch. So this is basically, I created these profiles just showing people all the steps that we go through on our sales page. So this one is like, this is your problem, right? This is you seeing your engagement go down. So just a bunch of memes. This is you creating content. So just a bunch of things like that. This is you getting called out for not crediting your grams correctly. And then they said here, click this tag in the image if you relate. So when you go here, when you go to your next account, click here if you relate. And then continuing, you know, the same logic of our sales pages, this is another one, but this one is actually showing you like, what could it be, you know, if you join the membership, which is working on Instagram becomes fun again. You fight engagement with super posts, low engagement with super posts. You don't waste time believing rumors, you know, you plan your posts in advance, just those things. And here is actually, you have to choose your own adventure. So you could either say, how you're gonna make this happen, I'm ready to learn. And this would say again, like click the tag. And when you click the tag, it just comes to this one, which tells you all about the membership. Now, if you clicked, I'll take a shortcut, this would take you to another account that is full of like bots and automation and spam. And it just says, wrong way, look at this bots, spam and Saudi princess waiting to meet you. Click the picture in the middle in the tag to go back to safety. So you go back here and you go back to, you know, to safety, which is like, this is how we do it, this is how we learn. And this is basically, again, that part of our sales page when it just lists the service and the benefits of joining, and started with me doing, you know, an introduction. This is Manu, founder of your social team. And then it went to just show, you know, some of the classes and perks that you had joining. And in all these profiles, I try to mix like images with GIFs, you know, this is like the member's path to success. So I just did a little cute animation with it, just because I wanted to keep it really fun. I put a lot of my members here. And once people are here, the last thing is like, oh, if you like this, click the photo in the middle for your last destination. And that's when you got to, you were so close, click here. And you landed on this last page, which would be all my testimonials with the members around them. So you could just go to each one and read them if you wanted to. I'm sure a lot of people just looked at the overall of the accounts and not every single post, but it's still pretty fun to create that. And then here had another video just about the membership again, which, you know, maybe some people didn't even see it, but all this content I can reuse. So it was just really fun for me to create this. And when they came here, finally, it's the join us. And in the end of this, it said link in bio, and also in the comments, so the caption said link in bio. So you just go here, and then you go to my sales page. So of course, this is by no means something that I think you want to do or you should do, but I think it was fun to kind of show you, you know, how you can be creative and create whatever crazy adventure you want with your Instagram posts and your content to promote your courses. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me. I showed that long video. I just wanted to show you something new and crazy, but by no means you need to do that. And this is important to note. Fun and crazy ideas are really great to generate a buzz, but make sure you follow up with plenty of direct and simple messages and clear calls to action. I really believe that that whole thing that I did created more awareness, and people are pumped to know more about the membership, and people are sharing this in marketing groups, and they're like, you know, talking about this crazy, like they're calling the Manu maze that I did. But it wasn't my best day for sales. I think it was actually lower than what a normal first day would be, because people are just too busy going through this maze or saying, I'm going to look into this later. And it wasn't saying like, our membership is open, join. So it's super important to, when you have crazy complex ideas, that you don't forget that this idea is not going to be what generates people to just go to your link in bio and check on your offer. So make sure that you follow up with lots of very simple messages. So this is what we're going to talk about, how to use one-on-one strategies and get more sales. Because I think one thing that I talk a lot about is that, you know, we got super used to the fact that we have this platform. So it's like our email list, our Instagram. We don't even email people anymore. You know, we're just like, oh, I'll send a newsletter about this. But if you have someone that you know is perfect for this or is waiting for this, you should reach out to them one-on-one, because everybody responds to one-on-one. Everybody reads a one-on-one message. Not everybody sees your content. Not everybody has time to open all their emails. So I think the one-on-one strategies is something that we should never forget. And, you know, luckily for you, we don't need to cross the town or travel to a different city to actually get with our clients. Like, it's super easy now. We can all do this online. But we definitely shouldn't forget about this, because I see a lot of people that are just like, okay, here's a post about this. Well, I don't know, no one bought it. And I'm like, if you emailed 20 of the people that are interested, they would buy it, you know? So I think sometimes we just forget about the one-on-one and the power of that, as opposed to, I think in our brains, sometimes it's like, oh, I sent out an email to them already, so they should have it. But it's very different to get a DM from you or a voice memo from you on the DMs, or in a one-on-one email. So I think we shouldn't forget that. And even if you think about the new tools that Instagram is launching itself, like, it's also, they're trying to get people to connect in a more personal way as well. They just launched video chat. They launched a group, so you can go in a video chat with a limited group of people. You have the close friends, which is a feature that didn't really pan out, didn't really go super well. Or at least for business, but it's there. You can see it as a trend, because I think when Instagram launches all these features, it also means that they also notice that people are not reaching people as effectively, because they just talk to the whole audience at once. So we're going to talk about how to do that. And most importantly, not to forget, you know, to do this, because it's super important. When you talk to people one-on-one, they're much more likely to ask you questions that would make them decide to buy. So this is a big thing. So, you know, maybe I want to buy your course, but I'm like, oh, I'm so busy right now. My kids are home from daycare. I don't have time for this course now, but I also don't want to wait till it closes, because I don't want to miss the opportunity. I wonder if I have to take the course now, or if I can start in December. I'm like, I don't know. And I go about my day. But if you are in my direct message and we're talking one-on-one, I'm obviously going to ask you that question, and your answer may be just what I need to click, or maybe even like having the link again on my DM, easy to find, makes it that I don't have to go to your profile and try to remember when you posted about it, or go to the link in your bio. As silly as it is that it's so easy, like, that people can just go to your profile, click on the link in bio. When you send something to them on the DM, it makes a huge difference. So let's not forget about that. So here's my little secrets to get leads from Instagram. And this is similar to what you could do on your emails. So when you send an email, like in the end of my launches, I like to actually see the people who clicked and didn't buy. And these are definitely my hottest leads. So I can go one-on-one with those guys and just send them, like a lot of times I just send a little video message just to that one person, like, and I send, I don't know, 50 or as many as I can get to. But from Instagram, you're not going to be able to see all the people that clicked in your offer and didn't buy. So what you can do instead, towards the end of my campaigns, like, you know, this one actually I did right in the beginning of the campaign, or a couple of days into. This one I did towards the end of my campaign, is that I use polls to separate my audience to who probably doesn't want it, and who can also be a person that I can reach out to and say, here, we're closing this day, but you should definitely check it out because of this and that and that. So first you create a couple of Instagram stories with post stickers, right? So instead of asking questions about whether or not they want your product, so you can see here, mine is not like, do you want to join our membership? Who wants to join our membership? It's not about that, because I think if I say that, most of the people that follow me might not know what that entails. They're like, is this $1,000 a month? I don't know. Do you get like, do you have to go in person to a different city? Like, I don't know, you know. So that's why I don't ask like, do you need this product, or do you need this course? Do you need this membership? I asked them things like, the first one was like, do you even know that our membership is open? And some people, when I put the watch, I did know and what. So those 20% of the people, I click on their names, and when you click on the Instagram poll results, you have like a direct click to their inbox or to their DMs. So what I did is I went to their DMs and sent them a voice message directly to all of them, basically, that responded watch. And I'm like, yeah, you know, so you said you weren't aware that our membership is open. So I just wanted to let you know that it closes in a couple of days, and the membership is like my favorite thing, you know, just talked about my offer, like not a ton of time, but one short message, and say, I'm going to leave the link right here in case you're interested. And then I also made a list with their handles, and I followed up on the last day with the ones that didn't buy, and not like a big follow-up, but just like, oh, and it's just to let you know, see if you have any other questions. So you don't want to be like, definitely don't want to send more than 2 DMs to them. If they don't answer the first DM, I don't even DM them again, because they're either not seeing it or really not into it. Think also that this is a little different that some like kind of annoying cold sales, because these people follow me and they responded to my poll. So not only they're my followers, but they're engaged with me. So for me to show up in their DMs and send a voice message is very different than you getting a voice message from someone you have no idea who they are. Does that make sense? So I think that's important to say, because you really don't want to be invasive. And you can send a text DM anyways. I like the voice messages for 2 reasons. I think once more people open them, I think there might be people that don't open them at all, but I think the number of people who don't open at all, like, is much smaller than the amount of people that open because it's voice. So it also stands out because they may have all these DMs, but if you send a voice message, they'll look at it and be like, oh, it's different. And it saves you a lot of time if you're trying to talk to a lot of people. And it's a lot more personal. So this works really well for me. And I totally recommend doing that. I'm pretty sure I got a good amount of sales. I don't remember how many. I got 69 new members in this 1 week of open, which was a really good result for what I was looking for. And I'm pretty sure that at least 15 came from these 2 polls. So definitely worth doing that, and keeping track. Keeping track is super important. And then this is the other thing. We talked a little bit about that, but how can I post about, you know, my sales every day on Instagram? And that, I'm sure some of you, like, your stomach like just turns when you think about that, because people feel like this girl anytime they actually want to do any promotional posts on Instagram, which you shouldn't, but most people do. And I think the problem is not that you are going to talk about your product, but the problem is that you are just doing maybe straightforward sales. And a lot of people have this really cool content, but then it's time for sales, they become the sales robots with just a straightforward picture of their product or course. And that's not as exciting. So the way to do that and not alienate your audience is by using content your audience enjoys the most. And that's what I call your super posts. And I have a little thing here for you. It's the Superman is you, this is your post, and this is the algorithm. You're like the savior of putting the algorithm like in, and your post can coexist really well here. So the super post, like I said, I teach that on my course, Organic Engagement Pro. It is the only course who teaches you how to grow organic engagement and drive sales from Instagram with the help of super posts, because I came up with super posts. It's my signature strategy, and it works for me like a charm, and to many other people that use it. And the best thing about them is that they're intentionally created to be your highest performing content ever. I created a post today that I sat in front of my computer and I'm like, okay, I want to do this because I want to create something that people are going to share and they're going to like, and it's going to have a lot of engagement. And I know this because it's one of my super posts. So and you're like, but how do you have a crystal ball? No, it actually uses your own Instagram insights. And if you have a newer account, or if you haven't been super consistent to have like good information on your insights, I have like a good way for you to test things out too until you get that data. So here's some of our students, what they're saying. These girls are all social media managers, and they're inside the social media CEO Facebook group, and they're just going on and on about my course. When I was part of the group, and I was like, I cannot answer these questions because people are like, oh, should we buy your social team's new course that she's having this open now? It's an early bird. And then this girl, Laura, which is my member now, and she might be watching here, she said, sorry, everyone. She said like 3 comments about it, telling people to buy. And this one, she was like, well, just one more. I only had 1 minute, 45 seconds into the first module, and I'm already had my mind blown. If anyone is on the fence, do it. And then Natalie said, this course is solid gold, no fluff, just valuable. I don't do well with fluff, you guys. So whatever I'm telling you is the things you need to know. And she said, your take on when to post on why on module 2 has blown my mind. So that's cool. So and you can see here a screenshot of my feed. And I had a bunch of super posts in this, which one of them was this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. So these were all super posts. I have been perfecting my super post strategy for a while. That's why I'm able to have so many in a feed. Usually recommend people have maybe like 1 every 5 posts to begin. And what you learn in the course on module 1 is the different ways to measure engagement. So you have the tools you need to create your super post strategy. So we're diving to the insights a little bit, and you understand what each different metric means, because sometimes you have different goals for your posts. Sometimes you just want people to connect with you, and it's not a sales post or something. Sometimes it's a sales post and you want people to go to your link in your bio, or maybe you want people to share that message. So you have these different strategies. And then module 2, we're going to talk about just the best organic best practices to grow engagement. So when you do your super post, you also check all these boxes and it performs even better. And module 3 is when we get into the super posts. We're going to learn how to create the super posts and definitely intentionally be able to create them to be your highest performing posts. And then on 4, we talk just a little bit about how to strategically engage with your followers and other accounts to help like just kind of build that community that you need. So you also get access to your social team private e-course students Facebook group. And I personally myself will answer all your questions that you have about the course and help you implement what you've learned. And you're in this group for good. It's not a temporary thing. And then this is Stephanie Gilbert, founder of the Social Media CEO, one of the people I trust the most when it comes to Instagram. And she says super posts are a huge part of her business strategy because they work. Formula Manu teaches makes content creation simple and effective. Your audience keeps growing, your content continues to thrive. I've seen a downtick. If you've seen a downtick in your followers' growth or engagement, the answer is simple. You need super posts. She has been killing it with the super post strategy. And then this is what you get. You get the 4 modules of video lessons. Again, I don't do fluff, so this course is just exactly what you need. You're not going to waste time. There's a little resource library together with it, access to your social team's private e-course student Facebook group, like I said, so you ask all your questions. It's lifetime access to your course. Once you join, you can always log on to Teachable and you have access to that course to watch and rewatch as much as you can. You have a certificate of completion that is very cute. And we're having the course today for $195. It's normally $197. It's normally $297, so you have $100 savings right now. And this price ends soon. I think it's only 7 days. So check out the button. I think it's above here. If you're watching the replay, it might be below you, but there's a big button you can check out if you want to know more information. But I completely stand by this strategy is what I use. Actually, when I was creating this course, my engagement went up 20%. And these were all my own strategies, to be clear, you know, just because I was so focused on it and I was doing it so much better when I was creating the course, I saw that growth. So thank you. I think now we're ready for questions, Cameron. If you have anything for me.
All right, that was fantastic. And we have some great questions from the audience here.
Awesome.
So looking in the chat here, so just leading it off, a few questions from folks. So Paul has never created a campaign on Instagram. So he says, can you run a campaign for courses, for coaching, you know, for even more than that? Is there any limits what you can run a campaign for?
No, so I think, here's what I think about campaigns. And Paul, most people have not run a campaign on Instagram because most people think, there's all this talk about Instagram is for awareness and people get shy about sales, but that's silly. We can't do it if we do it in an engaging way. Because a campaign is a little more intense, like this one I just did was a post every day, you know, almost every day. So it was like more than 8 or 9 posts and reels and stuff. You don't want to do them too often because they do exhaust your audience a little bit, even if you do it in a fun way. You don't want to be doing them back to back. So I would plan that you can have smaller campaigns and bigger campaigns depending on what you want to push for. So if you want to do, did he say coaching?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can do for your course, you can do for basically anything. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do one for a product that is just evergreen and is always available unless you have a sale or a special, you know, bonus or something. Because if it's just the same offer that has been on people's website forever and you can just click and get it anytime, it doesn't make that much sense. So I actually recommend if you do have a product and you want to sell it or a service that is evergreen, but you want to sell it in a campaign, make a special package about it, you know, like make a special offer and then you can do that campaign for that special offer and that special offer expires. But yes, you can do for everything. I would keep a good amount of time in between, and especially if you're not super active on Instagram, I would just show up and be active before you just show up in a campaign every day.
So another question we had here, so from Fiona, and there were a few people who were asked stuff like this. So Fiona says, what if you're just starting out and you don't have any social proof yet? And later on, Lauren said, yeah, how do you add testimonials? Or if you're just starting the industry, if it's a new offer. So a lot of these questions around to, you know, how are you getting started with this?
Yeah. So, well, if you don't have anyone that you have worked with before, I would just say don't put social proof if you don't have that yet. And that's fine. Like maybe people are okay with not having that to get going. People start somewhere. Like the other thing you can do is if you're just starting, let's say that you just start being a coach or a course creator and no one has taken your course yet, you can get testimonial from people who have worked with you in the past. It could be that it was your boss. It could be someone else that is not necessarily a client of your offer, but they're talking about the professional you are. So that could also help, you know, if you're just starting out. And then just work with what you can. Don't wait. I think some of us, like we have a hard time just putting ourselves out there because we feel like we don't have all our ducks in a row, but just start with what you have.
So looking in the chat again, we had some more questions here. And one of the ones I liked actually was from Tatiana. And Tatiana says, where do you find those GIFs and memes that are so perfect? And Yasmini had a related question, which is, are you, do you have to get permission to use any sorts of like these images or GIFs or memes?
Yeah, so I am the queen of memes. let's just talk about it this way. Like, no, I love memes. I love GIFs because it makes people stop and look. And it's so easy. It's like free content, you know. I use Canva for most of my graphics, and Canva has an integration with Giphy. So if you're on Canva, you can go to the top left to bottom left, just do like the three dots there, and GIF is going to show. And you can just type whatever you want, or you can just do it on their website. So what I like doing is, if I'm looking for something like, what's this last one? I did a really funny one about, that people think they have to be always on social media, but everybody's insights from 9 to 9 are like dead. So I just did, I looked for something like no one here. And I just see what shows up, you know, I just created these lines. And then it's even funnier when the GIF actually has a line that the person is saying, because then it's completely out of context and it makes it really funny. So my recommendation with GIFs would be, look for exaggerated reaction of something, because like no one's going to be doing cartwheels because you open your course, but that might be funnier than people just doing this. So just look for very exaggerated reactions of what you're looking for. And then the other one is to look for memes that are relatable for your audience. So if your audience is women like mine, like Beyonce all the way, and those kind of, or like characters from a show that people might like, or they're funny, because they would have the familiarity with those characters or people, are going to make that your memes perform even better.
So looking in the chat here, one thing that I saw come up was a question asked here by Andrea or Andrea. Mm-hmm. And they say, what are some of the design tools that you use in your practice?
I honestly use Canva like for 95% of the stuff I do. And it's so nice to me because I'm a business of one, basically. I have some help, but it's mainly just me. I just moved to my new office, but I have been with no office for like 5 months, with kids running my background and my hair like crazy. I can't just be taking photos that are nice, like, you know. And I felt like I was so stuck in content when I just needed photos all the time. And I work with photographers here and there, but I think it gets repetitive, you know? So I just love adding like graphics and text, and I do templates too. If Andrea wants to DM me on Instagram later, like I have templates that look just like my content that I sell too. But I think just doing graphics and phrases, because people scroll really fast on Instagram. So if it's just the same type of photos, they don't stop to see what your captions say. So that's why it's really important to mix it up.
Great. So looking back in the chat here, Jade has a question about how often should you actually archive each of your highlights after a campaign?
I would archive whatever is not valid anymore. So if it's like, oh, it's closing on Friday or whatever, then after Friday you archive that. So, but if it's like our membership offers this and this and this, you can leave it there with a swipe up, because people go there now, they're on a wait list. So if your course closes, people go on a wait list, or maybe it's evergreen. So what you can do is, after your campaign, you can give people a little break and then just create another story that is evergreen. Or maybe even go back to the one you had before the campaign that was evergreen. But I'll just make sure that I'm removing things that are no longer true.
So one question I've seen actually is, could you tell me a little bit more about what the difference is between like the depth of what you'll get in the paid course, which is available for sale for like the price today, versus what we got even, you know, out of the value pack training today?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar style. You don't see my pretty face, but it's a different thing I'm talking about, because on this class, I just talked about how to create your campaigns. The course is just about how to actually look at your insights, learn of your audience needs, goes to all this like different things about engagement, and learn how to create your super posts for you that perform. And so it's just it's more in depth, because it's not, you know, just something quick that we do online, and there's a lot you can go back to and just create your own lists and things. So definitely more in depth than the class, but it's a similar style of teaching.
Nice. And we're almost at the end of our time here. So I did want to just ask in the chat if we could just do something, if we could just all say thank you to Manu for joining us today. and sharing her time and her knowledge and her passion and kind of fun with us. So I would love you to just say thank you in the chat. And meantime, Manu, is there anything else that any words you'd like to add, or anything else that you'd like to say to the audience, or places they can find you to interact further?
Yeah, so my website is yoursocial.team, not yoursocialteam.com.team. And you're gonna find there's a good blog there with lots of tips, and you're gonna find some freebies there too. And then you can also find me at Your Social Team on Instagram, and I answer all my DMs myself, so feel free to reach out. I actually love to hear if you guys watched this and you enjoyed it, take a screenshot, put in stories, and tag Your Social Team and Teachable, because we'd love to see it. I know that Haley would love to see the ones from Teachable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of a shameless plug that right now, if you tag Teachable, definitely check out our summit as well. The Teachable Summit is
Yeah,
happening. It's really exciting. A lot going on right now, even though
you
we're
guys are doing so many cool things. I love it.
all right. So thank you so much also to Manu, and also to everyone in the audience who's joined us so far. You've given us your time today, and that really means so much. So that offer is going to be valid, I believe, the next week or so. So if you're watching this on the replay, there should be a button in the email. If you're watching this on the video, there should be a button right above the video. The course is fantastic. I can't wait to see you on the other side. So thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cameron. It's been a pleasure.